Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Anita Wong. I'm a board-certified emergency physician and a fellow in anti-aging metabolic functional medicine. I've been practicing preventative medicine, preventative aesthetics. I focus on the resilience of immune system, restoring energy, better intimacy, stronger core, anti-leaking, and anti-sagging. So as I have seen people at their worst, and now I try to prevent people from becoming their worst and to provide quality of life with optimal health and vitality to the end. Today, I wanted to speak about IBS. I know there's, 3 to 20% of people in this country that are suffering from this. And IBS is irritable bowel syndrome. It affects more women than men, and it's, can be known as spastic colon, irritable colon, mucosal colitis, fasciculitis, but it's very different than inflammatory bowel disease. Inflammatory bowel disease is more with Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, those symptoms. But typically they can run together, but and the symptoms and the durations, it varies from person to person. So it can last, 3 months for at least 3 days per month. And some of the symptoms that people are having can be a mixture of things of constipation, diarrhea, or just constipation, just diarrhea, or both. Have gas, bloating, abdominal pain, discomfort, fatigue, and headaches even. Sometimes the food, just the transient time is much slower. The stools could be dry, hard. Sometimes for women, it'll be come around their menstrual period, and the pain feels like a cramp, and the relief is after a bowel movement. And your stools may change in the way they look, and so but the thing that I think that highlights it for me is that IBS is really, you're going to have a combination of dysbiosis. So an imbalance or something going on, the microbiome is just not healthy. And so I think that people who have IBS, it should be really that they are having dysbiosis, and what as a result, they have these symptoms that we call irritable bowel syndrome. But it's because we haven't fed, we weren't born with the right microbiome because you were a C-section, or you weren't breastfed. So if you weren't breastfed, you didn't get the B fantus, I guess the oligosaccharide is to 15% of the breast milk is for the bacteria. And if that bacteria didn't propagate, then you don't have the right bacteria in your gut. And then depending on your diet, then you don't have the things that you need. And the microbiome gives us our footprint and is the key to how our genetics, our genes are played out. And 90% of diseases. And so I think if you have dysbiosis and your gut is just not working well, of course, you're going to have irritable bowel syndrome. And then when you're having that, then you can also lead into intestinal permeability. So that's that leaky gut. So the tight junctions of the gut are allowing these toxins in, that's just causing inflammation. And then just creating impaired gut, impaired function, and the impaired gut immune function, and the motility, and then affects the gut-brain interaction, and then there's psychological disturbances. So some of the triggers that people have noticed, and each one is going to be different, but I think what the root cause we have to get down to is your dysbiosis and what is creating that. But some of the triggers from people just commonly could just be eating a highly processed diet that's usually low in fiber. So if you just change the fast food, change the processed food, and just ate whole foods and increased your fiber, you may improve your dysbiosis and then improve your IBS, right? Food allergies or food intolerance and sensitivity. So people have these food sensitivity intolerance that they're not aware of, and especially for MS patients, if they have allergies, they shouldn't eat any of those foods that they are allergic to, or and red meat can create problems for people with MS. But so if you have IBS, you just want to make sure that you don't have allergies to certain foods, intolerance or sensitivity, because those things can create dysbiosis, then leaky gut, and then irritable bowel syndrome. Stress itself. Stress, the head and the brain are connected. So you know that if you're not a public speaker and you're thinking about it, and or you have a test to take, or you just have some task that you don't want to do and you're just thinking about it and your stomach is in knots, right? So then it could create changes in the gut. So stress and inflammation. So pretty soon it's not going to be cardiology, endocrinology, neurology. There's also going to be this field of inflammatology, right? Because everything is caused by inflammation. The free radicals floating around that has to get reduced and detoxified. The oxidative stress that creates the damage. So all of this can also damage the intestines and your lining and create problems. And then if you don't, or if you have intestinal damage and irritability and everything, and then you're all stressed out about it, guess what? Your gut can't relax, it can't digest, and then you're going to have nutritional deficiency because you can't absorb things you need. And as I said, you can have leaky gut. So if leaky gut, we need to heal that. And so certain medications can create it. Cause the diarrhea or the constipation and just creating some problems with your gut. Even poor lifestyle choices, such as, certain drug uses, smoking, lots of caffeine, lots of alcohol consumption can also be a trigger. And then if you have this dysbiosis that's going on, you're could have SIBO, which is small intestinal bowel overgrowth. So instead of being where they should be in the colon and be happy and be everywhere and keeping everything in harmony, all of a sudden, you're drinking a lot of alcohol, you're having a lot of sugary drinks, a lot of processed starchy stuff. And guess what? Candida and yeast just go amok and they're taking over and they say, hey, we got the house now. And so then all the good guys in the colon are going, hey guys, we got to go. Let's move upstream to the small bowel. And then that's going to cause, gastritis discomfort, right? So we need to get that in balance. So eliminate the alcohol, eliminate the sugar, the processed foods. So if you have gastroenteritis or infection, that's going to create, and then hormonal changes can be something. So going through menopause, even andropause, just having an imbalance. So when your gut's off balance, you can also have a hormone imbalance. But let's say if your hormones started off balance, there could be a trigger for your IBS because things are not in sync. The other thing is dehydration. We're all dehydrated. Hydration is key. That's how our body functions. That's how messages get transported. So we need to have hydration. Sorry, choking on my, excuse me. And then sedentary lifestyle. Gotta move. Our body needs to move. Like I said, I say there's 4 pillars of health. And if you do those 4 pillars of health and you still are not well or not feeling your optimal, then you need to come and see me, because then I'm going to dig down deep and look and find what is the root cause, what is the issue. And those 4 pillars of health is food. You have to make the right food choices, right? They have to be clean and nutritious. 2 is you got to move. That's where I was going with this. You can't have that sedentary lifestyle, which could be a trigger to your IBS. You got to move. And 3 is mood. You have to have laughter and joy and have that aha moment every day. It's just get you into that parasympathetics and get that balance and just not be on go, 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 stress, 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 but then just have that relax and, enjoy the moment thing, right? Be in your body, be aware, feel the joy, right? And then 4 is rest and restoration, sleep, deep sleep, recovery, repair. The body needs those. If you're doing all 4, and you're feeling great, you're on it. If you're doing all 4 and you're not feeling great, then we need to dig deep. We need to do some testing, look at your genetics, find out what's going on, right? So those are the triggers for IBS. And typically, as people, females, but it can be men also. And typically they're younger than 50s is when they start having this. And so to diagnose it is really difficult to diagnose because it's really a diagnosis of exclusion. So you have to rule out things, but you need to get your blood count tested, the C-reactive protein, get your fecal calpectins, make sure that you don't have celiac, make sure you rule out colorectal cancer, do the screenings. But for the four diagnoses criteria of IBS is onset of symptoms at least 6 months before diagnosis. So you have it for 6 months. 2 reoccurring abdominal pains or bouts, discomforts. That's more than 3 days per month. So usually, and for the previous 3 months. So you'll have it frequently, at least recurring. And then you have to have 2 of these is either an improvement of your symptoms following a bowel movement or associated with a change in your stool frequency, or associated with a change in your form of stools. Okay, so those are the diagnosis criteria. It's pretty loose. Not a specific test that says it, but some of those tests that I mentioned. And then there's 3 types, the irritable bowel syndrome that has diarrhea usually, irritable bowel syndrome that predominantly has constipation, or the mixed one where you have both diarrhea and constipation. So the treatment really depends. For me, I really think it's going to be the dysbiosis. And I'm sure that everyone who has IBS actually has dysbiosis and their gut's not healthy. We just need to make it healthy, and then we're going to avoid it. And then if you do one of those triggers, so if we eliminate all the triggers, and then we've healed the gut and your microbiome was good, and then you eat one of the triggers, well, you know that it's gonna come back. So it depends on the cause. So if you have, but in conventional medicine, basically this is what they're looking for. So if you have food allergies, that's going to be caused. So you're going to remove the food allergies. If you have chronic stress, chronic stress causes low motility. Emotional stress causes the gut to just not function right. So we got to remove the chronic stress. What is your diet? If it's not a diet of fresh vegetables and things like that, it's going to be an issue. So what do you want to eat? Let's talk about in terms of that. You want to have fresh vegetable juice, fresh vegetables. You want healthy fats like avocado, coconut oil. The salmon has great in omega-3s. Even lamb is high in omega-3s. Egg yolks, things like that. Steamed vegetables, raw cultured dairy, organic, because there's so much hormones in it, antibiotic use. Bone broth is good. Fruit, water, as I said, hydration. Clean, lean protein. So I like lamb. Even grass-fed beef is good. But you don't want anything fed with corn, right? And then foods that can trigger it are, like as we mentioned, conventional dairy, spicy foods that cause gas, like grains. Gluten is a big one. So if you just removed gluten, sugar, refined flour, anything that causes allergies, and the things that are big on the allergy list, if you don't want to test, are gluten, nuts, shellfish, dairy. Okay? So what are the things can really help with IBS? There are supplements, essential oils, probiotics is a good one because we need to get your microbiome in sync. You really should test to figure out what you need. 50 to 100 billion units daily. Digestive enzymes. So a lot of times if you're dysbiosis, then you don't have the right digestive enzymes. Sometimes you have pancreas elastase is low. So you want to take the digestive enzymes maybe a couple before your meal. L-glutamine, 5 grams twice a day is really healing for the gut. It turns out that you have some also permeability, and the gut walls is friable and not healthy. Aloe vera juice, a half a cup 3 times a day could be helpful. Not from the fresh plant, because that needs to be definitely, I forgot how to dilute it and clean it. But fish oil, 100 milligrams daily. Some herbs that are really good is slippery elm, ginger, peppermint oil, licorice root, and to get your psyllium, your fiber up, psyllium husk or senna, leaf tea or acacia fiber, like the fiber. Any you want to just add fiber. Flaxseed and chia soaked in water, those are good. Essential oils, as I said, are the ginger, peppermint, lavender, and fennel. Um, you want low FODMAP foods because those are really what make the gas. The fermented oligosaccharide, disaccharide, monosaccharide, um, and pools. These are specific type of sugars, fructose, lactose, fructans, and galactans that are found in carbohydrates and fruits that can cause a lot of gas. So some people, you need a specific carbohydrate diet. Maybe you need the SCD or you need the GAPS diet. So certain different diets that's going to give you the lower gas formation. And so if you are having any of these symptoms, you should really seek medical attention. Sudden unexplained weight loss, diarrhea or constipation that lasts more than several days, rectal bleeding, signs of iron deficiency like of anemia, so fatigue and weakness, unexplained vomiting, difficulty swallowing, persistent pain. You just really should get some help. So, hopefully there's just a quick little snippet about IBS and my take on it. Well, so many different diets that we could place you on, supplements to take, testing to do, just to find it out. And I really think it boils down to how healthy the gut is initially, how healthy were you born with it, how well does the diet work with it, and then we can find out your triggers, eliminate the triggers, find out the root cause, get you feeling better, up and running. So as always, if you find this information helpful, like it, share it, please pass it along. Let me know what you're interested about hearing about. I would love to speak to what you really need. And I just want to educate as much as possible and help you feel your best and be vital to the very end. So always consult your doctor before you make any changes. I'm happy to work and collaborate with your doctors. As I said, as I'm subspecialty in optimizing your health, and you can always reach me by my website, anitawangmd.com, or call 949-734-0580 and leave a detailed message. And you can schedule a complimentary discovery call, and we can chat about your interests. So till next time, be safe and be well.